Welcome back to Johnny and Jillian's Wednesday Wisdom. Today we are diving into the art of transformation, perfectly timed as we approach the new year. We're thrilled to be joined by someone who knows firsthand all about creating change and achieving growth. Please welcome Tina Swonger from Remax. She's an experienced real estate agent who's not only skilled in her field, but also incredibly inspiring when it comes to personal reinvention. She's a professional speaker, podcaster. You can check her out at Team TNT Radio, and a soon to be author. Honestly, she's just an inspiring human, and I've adored her since the day we met, so I'm so excited to have her.
Yes, Tina's journey and dedication to self growth is something that we can all learn from. So, Tina, we are excited to gain some of your wisdom with us today on reinventing yourself. So let's get into it.
I am so blessed. Every time I think about the journey, where I started from and how I have kind of navigated through life and even to the point of meeting you guys, I just know that I'm on the right path. I know exactly that I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I'm just trusting the process, but I have so much excitement where there didn't used to be.
You
And I
gotta follow
know
the energy. You gotta follow the energy.
I'm loving it already.
I know. It's kind of like going down the rapids, just avoid the big rocks.
I like that.
Well, Tina, let's start off. You've mentioned to me before this concept of old tapes. So, those are like those lingering thoughts and beliefs. Can you tell our listeners more about that concept and just kind of kick us off that way?
Absolutely. This concept was really hammered home by what's the soundtracks by John Acuff. So I read that book after I had already been on this journey, but it all kind of culminated together. And I sometimes when you go to a seminar and they tell you things like this is what you should be doing, and then all of a sudden you go, oh my God, I'm on the right path. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But soundtracks, like I'm an 80s girl, so soundtracks to me mean an 8-track tape, and I can push the button to go to the different tapes. But soundtracks mean what is playing in the background?
Yes.
What are you listening to? So when I started this journey 33 years ago, and by the way, I just celebrated 33 years of sobriety. I am now clean and sober as of November 10th, 1991.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
huge.
you.
Like,
That's an
that is
inspiration
huge.
all in itself, Tina.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I started in real estate that same year. The universe had something planned for me, and I was like, I don't know how I did it or why, but I did. And that's what kept me clean and sober and focused on business and personal growth. So 33 years ago, I kind of started halfway on this journey, not really knowing what I was doing. But soundtracks, the chatter that goes on in your mind, I remember because I grew up really, really poor. I remember thinking to myself that nobody will ever buy or sell a house with me because I grew up in a trailer park and I'm broke and I'm poor and I don't know anything and I'm uneducated and I'm this, that, or the other. Did you know you can get your real estate license without even a GED?
Wow.
I did not know that, but I have my real estate license and I didn't know that. So that's good. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah. So that was the only thing that I knew I could do and get out of the bars and the nightlife and all of that. And for some miracle that was put in front of me, I'd never owned my own home. My family had never owned their own home, nothing. And for that to be presented in the universe to put that on my plate was just one, a flat miracle. And two, it started me on the journey of self-worth, self actualization. So soundtracks are listening to what you're thinking about. What is going on in your brain?
The
What is
internal dialogue.
yes.
Yes.
Yes. And once I started listening to all this crap I was telling myself, it was like, I would never talk to my best friend like that. Why am I talking to myself like that? You
You know,
know?
Tina, I want to jump in there. At my seminars, I talk to people a lot, and people will say, they'll tell me it's easy once you make your first million. And I tell them, no, it was harder than hell to make the first 100,000. First, you had to overcome this. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't come from a wealthy family. So what a lot of what you're saying right now really resonates with me, because I think that I shared that negative self-talk about
Mhm.
being a college dropout, not coming from a wealthy family, getting into real estate at a young age and instantly failing, multiple
Yeah.
foreclosures and bankruptcies, and who's going to take advice from me, and with,
I'm a fraud. I'm an imposter. That
exactly,
typical imposter syndrome.
yes.
You
So
know?
I
You know,
I
commend
was the
you.
poster child. You look at imposter syndrome, there's my face right
right
there.
next to mine, right next to mine. Don't worry.
Uh,
We're
I
twinsies there.
I applaud you for being vulnerable and stepping into a moment of vulnerability and sharing that, especially about your past. Do you have any suggestions on maybe like an exercise or something that somebody can do to uncover those soundtracks?
Oh gosh. And I know you guys have heard this before and it's been really drilled down, but meditation, getting quiet and just observing, and when I say observing your thoughts, I mean visualize a screen in front of you while your eyes are closed. And every time you have a thought, those words appear in front of your on your screen. And you read those thoughts as you're thinking about them. So, I am uneducated. How this is stupid. This meditation won't work. On and on. Just read what is scrolling in front of your screen. And then when you get done, take your pen, write down everything you read as fast as you can, as much as you can remember. That's step 1. Step 2, read it, and you're going to be shocked.
Right.
You're going to fall off your chair. You're going to go, "Oh my God, how could I possibly talk to myself like that?"
Well, I think another visualization thing that I have used in the past is thinking about somebody who inspires me and then trying to take those things that I'm saying to my own self. Would I say them to another human being? Would I say them to another human being? And a lot of times the answer is no. And that means that I shouldn't be saying it to myself either, right?
And it's
Um,
not about ego.
yeah.
It has nothing to do with "I'm wonderful, I'm great, or those false uh, um, affirmations. "I am powerful, I am wealthy, I am." It has nothing to do with that.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yeah, my meditation teacher used to always tell me that if your inside world is in disarray, your outside world will be in disarray. So,
100%.
so you and I are two peas in a pod. So I love everything that you're talking about.
Well, here's the most beautiful thing. Once you have that piece of paper with all of the scribbles, and sometimes you have to do it a couple of times. You got to get into the habit of doing it. But you have to make a commitment to do it every day at a certain time. Get up 30 minutes early when everybody in the house is quiet. The dog's still sleeping. The babies are still in their beds before you have to get them up. Whatever. In my case, husband's still snoring. But that quiet time is critical to mindset adjustment. 100%. And you have to do it because your life depends on it.
I love that. Yeah, the old tapes and soundtracks. That's everybody has a program that is running, and that negative self talk. And in your industry, I mean, especially in real estate, You know, if you have that negative self-talk, why even have an open house this weekend? It's cold. No one's going to show up. Interest rates are too high. No one can afford this. They're going to ask for this, and I don't even know. Well, shit, you've already shot yourself in the foot before you even started. You know, versus getting up saying, today's a beautiful day. I only need one buyer. I'm going to meet some great people. There's going to be some great things that are going to happen. You know, I'm going to I'm going to get to talk to different people. And if they're not buying this house, they'll buy another one eventually. Right?
So I'll tell you a quick story. I got in the business in 1991. I am brand new. I just got my real estate license and I was just eligible to do floor duty. That is actually a non-paid secretarial position in the real estate world back in the day. So we're answering the phones and doing this. Well, I am rainbows and butterflies and sunshine with the world in front of me, and I've got all this excitement about this new life I have because I'm clean and sober and I'm gonna kill it. So I'm sitting there and this lady calls and says, Tina, I want you to come, I want you to tell me how much my house is worth. And I'm like, hot damn, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna go do it. It is 1991. Just so you know, the savings and loan crisis just collapsed the entire market in the late 80s and early 90s. So everybody in my office is old, and I'm only 24 years old. Everybody there is beat to hell by the market, and the interest rates are up to 12, 14%, whatever. And I come in bouncing and bebopping, and everybody's like, so we're talking about mindset. I've got this great mindset. Nobody's going to wash it over me because I ain't got time for that. I am hungry and I got 3 babies to take care of. So Gene and Millie King. Okay. I asked my boss, can I go over there? I go over there. I get the listing. But she says, oh, I can't sign that right now because there's another agent coming over. And I go, what? Another realtor? No, this isn't happening. And I said, I don't know what came over me. I said, would you like me to call and cancel that for you? And you know what she said? She said, oh, would you? Oh, that would be amazing. So I called and I'm like, yeah, Lisa, yeah, from Century 21, yeah. I'm sorry. I've listed the house, and I didn't want you to drive all the way over here. I'm sorry. But, you know, we are going to be listed at $219,900, and if you have any buyers.
I love that so much. I mean, you had to ask, and I think 99% of people would have not taken that brave of a step.
That wasn't me. I'm going to tell you something, Jillian. My mindset was still in the toilet that I wasn't worthy, all this stuff. I do not know where that came from. All I know.
Well, you know, I think that actually leads into something that I really want you to talk about, and that is rewiring your brain. So you kind of took that step that you have no idea where it came from, but making that one statement that one time and it working made a change in your brain. Can you tell us a little bit about that brain changing process?
100%. It's called neuroplasticity, baby. It's the greatest invention since peanut butter and jelly. When we're little babies, when we're first born, and we have the dialogue with our caregivers, and we receive information that starts to wire our brains in certain ways, whether we're traumatized or affirmed or nurtured, whatever. When we get to a certain point, that's the bulk of our neuroplasticity. And back in the old days, they used to say, well, it's fixed. But over the years, all the studies with the brains and AI and all this wonderful technology and all the studies and everything, we have found we can actually rewire the brain. And it is so amazing because if I am sitting there being all negative and having the negative soundtracks and the negative attitude and my life is doom and gloom and everything will always be bad, and I decide I am not going to put up with this with Tina. Tina's going to change. Tina's going to be a better, happier, stronger, more loving, more wonderful, successful person. The only way I can do that is to rewire my brain and put new tapes in. take the old tapes out, put the new tapes in, but I have to listen to them over and over. It's like driving grooves in an old record player, if y'all know what that is. You're too young.
I know what records are. You know I'm a lover of vintage things. So
Yes,
of
you
course
are. But eventually, and I'm still doing it to this day because I still have some of that residual, some of that old stuff from when I was, long time ago. If somebody's, I'm trying to learn how to play the piano and somebody says, "Oh, you're clumsy," well, then I look for evidence as to all the reasons why I'm clumsy instead of talented, and that I should keep going because that affirmation was cut. But I can rewire my brain and with repetition and practice and then learn how to play the piano and go, that's right. Look what I just did. Right, show me.
I love that.
Yeah.
How do you start in identifying some of these like personal? I guess there. How can someone start identifying their internal parts?
So one of the things that happened along my journey is I realized that I did have some past traumas that I had to deal with. And that they were things that were holding me back, and that they were things that were putting those negative soundtracks in there that I had to change. Also, with all of there's a book by Bessel van der Kolk, The Body Keeps the Score, because I was having seizures, non-epileptic seizures. These were emotionally caused seizures that I was having that I didn't know where they came from. They were caused by childhood trauma. Did not know it, but I went 25 years, MRIs and CAT scans and all this trying to figure it out, but I did. So once I found that out, then I can fix it, right? By using neuroplasticity, EMDR, all of these other things. During this journey, I realized when these things happen when you're a child, you tend to for survival, you protect yourself. So I discovered in my journey that I have personalities that adapted for survival. There's a inner child that I need to nurture to this day. There's a performer who is able to get on this podcast and talk like a madwoman. Okay? That's who's here today. The chairman, she's the one that's responsible, and she's the bookkeeper, and she's the filer, and she's the nerd, and she's the one who does analysis paralysis. And then, there's the addict, the alcoholic. Well, that one, just so you know, is chained up in the back of my head in a straitjacket.
For 33 years, right?
33 years.
Yeah.
The power of this knowledge is reintegration and appreciating all of the most beautiful things that have happened that are all coming together for a reason. There are a lot of people out there who act or react a certain way because of a trigger they didn't even know they had. It's called internal family systems. So it's not Sybil, it's not multiple personality disorder. It is something that we do for survival. It's like you act different with your friends, with your parents, with your siblings, with your buds from college, with your boss, and with your children. Don't you act differently?
Yes. Dialogue's different, energy level's different.
Your
Yes.
voice is different. Your
Yes.
tone is different. Your posture is different.
Yeah.
That's
We
your
all have
internal.
that. We all have that office phone voice that we can break out, right?
Or the mom voice. I said, go to your room. That's a good one.
Exactly. That was good.
Did it work?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Very scared. Very scared. My son's like 6'5", and
I was going to say, you're
I feel you. I'm short. I still use them, and it's like,
I love that. Yes.
I'm really grateful, and for those of you who don't know me, I do have 5 sons, and I am really grateful that my journey, I did stop the generational trauma. I was able to quit before, the journey went really sideways for my children too, and I that was my motivator. I didn't want to be like my parents or my environment or that. It had to be different, and the only way I was going to do it was to change everything. And that's sometimes what needs to be done. Most people don't have to go through that drastic change, but I'm really proud of the journey. I'm really proud that I now have tools to teach other people.
Yes.
I think that
So,
it's really, really helpful. I was working with one of my kids on some skills for creating better relationships, and there's this program that they use to talk about those internal family members in kid terms, like right. So rock brain or
ah,
and those are the
nice.
not wanting to change anything and it's really really great when you start to look at it that way because it separates it from having to analyze it emotionally and just being like, oh no, that's something that's not me, that's just a tiny part of my actions, right? So it kind of empowers you to accept those roles a little bit differently without criticizing yourself or taking it personally, if you will.
Two of the best movies on the planet are
Oh,
cartoons.
yeah, Inside
Inside
Out.
Out.
Oh my gosh, Inside Out, amazing. And what's the second one? Oh, both Inside Out. That's
Both
what you're.
the
Yeah,
first one
yeah,
and the
yeah.
second one. So
Amazing.
I was supposed to go with my grandchildren, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
cartoon. Grandma's supposed to take the kids to the cartoons, and one of them got sick, and so I decided I was going to take my husband. I made my husband
Mm-hmm.
go. And so I sat in there and I bawled like a baby for
Mm-hmm.
20 minutes. They were sweeping around me while I
Yeah.
am just sitting there bawling my eyes out because it impacted me so much. Because it was like all of the things I was thinking about, the internal family systems and everything, kind of all culminated into somebody else thinks this way too. I thought I
Yeah.
was alone. I thought I
Yeah.
was by myself. I thought I was crazy.
I had the exact same experience. In fact, I remember trying to explain like some little midlife breakdown that I was having, not like a major one, but like a little one.
Sure.
And I was like, "Have you ever seen Inside Out? Because that's what's happening to me right now. I feel like all my islands are like messed up." So yeah, it's quite an inspirational like thing. Yeah, I've watched both of them with my kids. It's a huge, huge way to understand it. But I like that yours kind of takes it, to this adult level and like helps us understand it a little bit more with that internal family systems kind of like thing where you give a role to each emotion, if you will.
Yeah, and I don't name them. I don't give them Ralph or Lisa or Julie or anything like that. They are like I have little girl, 12,
Mm-hmm.
performer, straight jacket man, and then I have my God, my spirit,
Mm-hmm.
my ethereal, and that's my um, compass, my moral compass that keeps me straight when I don't have enough faith in myself. I can get quiet and be embodied by energy, and it's beautiful. And,
Absolutely.
Gosh,
and
I'm loving everything about this,
I
Tina.
know. I know. And so, here we are. I cannot believe this. We're mid-November right now, so we're kind of approaching, right? I'm sorry I broke the news to you guys, but like it's already mid-November.
ah,
So I know. So we're approaching a new year. And how does this work kind of tie in? Like this is a time of year where I feel like everybody starts to really think about who they want to be and how they need to reinvent themselves. So what can you give us, Tina, in that space as we're thinking about the new year?
Okay, so every course, well, we just got back from Doris's course on business planning and all of that. Plus, my company's doing business planning. I do business planning every year. I've run my business for 33 years. I have, a good bank of business, and I still intend to continue running it successfully. But there's also purpose. And for me, there are what's happening next, what's going to be in the future. So I'm writing a book, like you said, thank you. Now it's putting the pressure on. I appreciate that. And
You
then
do,
we've got
you know you do.
we've got
Your book is in you. It needs to come out. This is what people need what you're saying, Tina. And so we want to hear your voice. We want that book. So I'm going
you
to
know
keep
what's
telling
bad?
everybody it's on its way.
I'm going to tell you something funny because I had to talk to my therapist about this one. So I'm writing my book, and we're talking about in parts and internal family systems. I'm like, God dang it, I'm having such a hard time writing my book because all these damn personalities keep coming out and it's confusing me. This one wants to talk, that one wants to talk. And I want to give everybody a voice, but I'm like, y'all are confusing me.
I love that. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I love
Yeah.
that you have these different, the performer, the nurturer, the 12-year-old version of yourself. I find I've been sitting here quiet thinking about. I call it my dark side, right, or flow state. Maybe it's a conversation, or it's a situation, or it's something that you go internally where you own time. I'm talking about the performer part of you, right?
Yes.
Where you own time. Most importantly, you don't ask for permission when you're in this state. You
No.
just instinctually know what to do,
It
right? You
and,
just you
and it
just
just
execute.
happens. There's no fear. That
Exactly. No
the
fear.
performer doesn't have fear.
Right.
And that's the authentic part. It's cool.
So
It's
I think that you sharing the story of, hey, we're going to meet with another real estate agent after you. What would you like me to call? That was the performer part coming out, and you're saying, I have no idea where this version of me came from. It's in there, and that part of you said, I'm going to be heard right now. I own time, right? But what I like about this, and what I mentor my team around, is that having that specific part of our life, especially being in the industry that we're in, it's not a I'm better than you. It's a get on my level or get out of the way. So it
yeah,
elevates everybody else around us, right?
and it's that confidence that we got. Here's what it is. It's the negative self-talk finally got shut up.
Yes.
It got shut up. And okay, we can worry about this drama tape shit later. We ain't got time for it now. That's taking control of the time. We
Yes.
don't have time to sit there and ruminate about this, what could happen, what are they going to think about me, none of that stuff. We'll worry about that later. We're going to just be our most proud, authentic, unapologetic self right this very minute, and we're going to knock it out of the park, and we'll worry about the fallout later.
I love that. That's empowering yourself with the internal family system.
Yes.
Yes. I
Yeah,
love that.
and giving it permission because, once you identify it, then you could be like, I could sure use the performer right now. I'm not feeling so good. or, or the grandkids are here. Let's play.
Right.
Let's
Let's be
see
present.
Barney and Baby Shark, and let's really get into it and draw some pictures. Because that's what I used to do when I was a little girl, and I grew up way too fast. And it's time for me to stop time.
Yeah. So, any final advice for anyone listening about how to get started on this journey of reinventing themselves, Tina?
It's definitely going back to think about your thoughts. You have to know once you start right. Oh, here it is. Who is Tina? And I want you to write. And I want you to write. And I want you to write. And I want who is Johnny? And then I want you to read it. Don't write it with your left hand or your non-dominant hand because that will open up a part of your brain that you are not used to dealing with, that you're not preconceiving what you're writing. It's going to be hard at first.
I was like, you said you wanted me to be able to read it after. That's not happening.
You got to read it yourself. You'll know what you wrote.
Oh
You
yeah.
will know.
I know. I'm just.
Yeah, and if you don't know who you are, how are you supposed to empower?
That's
And
the
how are you
beginning.
supposed to get to the next stop, next point, if you don't even know who you are?
Right. And I will caveat this. I have been through a lot of guidance with, professionals that have really helped me define myself a little bit better. And all, people who I trust that are going to give me guidance and not just say what I want to hear, because I tend to steamroll people. You would never guess that, would you? And but no, sincerely, somebody that might say, hey, maybe you need to take a look at that. That's a little bit toxic, or maybe that's not real healthy, or maybe that's not a good tape to listen to. If you get that kind of feedback, then you can start to heal. You can start to take a look at what you're really saying. And that is definitely, and okay, so I'm on a goal, 52 books in 52 weeks.
Okay.
I made it this year. I did it. I did it. I
I'm
already hit my 52.
High five, sister. Be a voracious reader on the topics that you need to hear, because once you know, you cannot unlearn.
Johnny has something he loves to say about books. They're like,
Instant downloads from the Matrix.
Yes.
And in the movie The Matrix, to keep, I think it's if you were to read one book a month for 5 years in the subject matter you're looking to become an expert in, you would be recognized among the top 5% experts in the world in that subject, right? So that
Right.
the how something is going to happen is not our, the mechanism of how something's going to happen is not our choice, but we can prepare to be prepared for that, right?
I like that download. I like that download
Yeah.
idea,
it's
because
like a
there's some
software upgrade for your
Yes.
head. Yeah.
there's things that happen in my life that I don't know how to handle, but I will remember, even though I don't remember the book or where it came from. One line, one thing that I heard somewhere along the way is going to help me respond to that situation a little bit differently.
100.
Tina, I have to share, over the past week, I've been reflecting on a statement that one of my mentors would tell me.
Yeah.
And he would say that before you master the mile, you have to be able to master the inch. If you cannot master the inch, you will never be able to master the mile. As a matter of fact, if you cannot master the inch, then all of your future success was accidental. So are you living an accidental life, or are you living a life by design? And mastering that inch for us is first getting a hold of this, right? Mm-hmm. So again, everything that you've been talking about, we were talking about before we even went live on how things happen for a reason.
Yes.
I've been going through this this recap the past week for myself, right? Trying to tap back into, that saying, and trying to get back into more authentic me, and trying to get back in control of this. Sometimes this turns, it's not so much the I'm not good enough, but I'm not as successful enough as I should be.
Oh, that should word is bad. That's a bad word. Bad
Exactly.
word.
And then when
Sometimes
you
I
start
shit all over myself.
and sometimes it's hard to get to realize I'm doing great, but when you look at, when you start comparing yourselves with other people and their journeys, that's not your journey. I'm on my journey, and my journey is absolutely perfect. Then it puts things in the perspective of, now I can truly give love and gratitude for the things that I have and the things that other people have succeeded in. Because, if somebody has, 100 units that they own, and I don't own 100 units, before I'm beating myself up, like, how are they younger than me and they own more units? Now I'm telling myself, congratulate them. It's not your time yet. Whether that's going to be your time or not, that's not your purpose is to continue staying in the moment, continue educating, continue doing these things. The universe will take care of the rest. So
Uh,
Yeah.
I think this podcast today with you has
I
helped me, has helped me especially. Um, so
Well, every time the three of us could sit here and talk all day, so I do have to kind of keep us on track on wrapping this up. But you guys just bring so much energy. I love both of you so much, and you're such inspirational pieces of my life, just to bring that elevation. But everything that you shared today, Tina, was just really, I'm sure, inspiring to every listener. And reinventing yourself is just such a journey that you have to continually be on, and a great thing to keep in mind as we approach the new year. I still can't believe it's the middle of November. But speaking of journeys, Johnny and I have a little announcement that we want to make here at the end of the show. So, Johnny, take it away.
yes, absolutely. Speaking of journeys, today will actually mark the end of the Johnny and Jillian Wednesday Wisdom show, the live show. However, it's not a goodbye. We're actually in the process of going to more of a podcast format. So do keep a look for us. We're under construction.
Yes.
We're growing.
Do you have a
We're
name
And
yet?
Yes, I think the one that we're settling on is the real estate ladder.
Mhm.
So,
Nice.
however, I also love a lot of these conversations about, self-awareness and tapping into this higher awareness of ourselves, because that's where I believe that we can play with our superpowers. So listening to you before we started here live, kind of put some things back into perspective. I enjoy real estate. It's a subject I'm passionate about, but also I want our listeners to get the full. Before you can
Yeah.
start, very first thing you got to do is attack this. Get rid of all the negative self-talk. So hearing your story today and you sharing with us about your journey has been very inspiring for me. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I am actually, so we're kind of splitting up. This originally started as a way to talk about AI, which is a big focus of mine, and real estate, and AI and real estate. And like there were just a lot of topics, so we kind of split them up. I'm formally launching a new podcast tomorrow called Actively Implementing. And actively starts with A, and implementing starts with I, so that's AI. Actively implementing AI. And that's all about how businesses are using AI in their business. So it's like real actionable insight in different industries, different users at different levels of organizations, how they're using it, and how you could actually use it in the same way. So we've got a lot of really cool things coming. But this live show just needs to morph into one of those more permanent spaces where it can have a catalog of information that people can refer back to, which is why we're doing this big change.
Yes, I think that's brilliant. That's
Yeah.
because I want to be able, if you give a topic, I want to be able to go back and look things up myself. So
yes.
make sure I get links to all of that.
There will be links I will put in the comments of this video. We'll be all tagged on it. You'll find Tina's contact information and links to everything that we mentioned. It'll go right in the comments of the video. So, Tina, thank you so much for joining
Yes.
today. We could be here all day.
Yes,
It's
yes,
so hard
yes.
for me to say goodbye.
Thank you.
um,
What a blessing. I never get tired of this stuff, so thank you.
all right. Well, thank you to all of our listeners out there, and keep on the watch for the next things coming down the pike here.
All right,
It's
guys.
all
Bye,
about
Keep
the
everyone.
inspired.
journey.
We'll see you guys.
All right, and we're clear. And let